following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, go Cowboys!
This is Mick Shots.
Streaming live on DallasCowboys.com and the official Dallas Cowboys app.
Now, here are Bill Jones, Everson Walls, and Nicky Spagnola.
Well, it's Monday at 11:02 inside the SWBC podcast
I have
studio.
11 o'clock on the dot. That's what I have.
The rest of us have 11:02, Everson Walls.
That is prime reason why they got rid of the old clocks, because you could change the arms up there, and they went digital. So guys that were late for meetings couldn't jack with the time.
And it doesn't appear that Everson was late today.
No.
It appears that it is not.
He's just out of breath as he walked in here.
Just still getting dressed.
I had a feeling with all that's going on in this building today that their parking was probably at a premium.
I got lucky.
You got lucky.
Still got lucky. Otherwise, I would have been.
That's because you're Everson Walls.
Been towed. I have been towed.
You have?
I would have been.
Oh, you would.
If I would have been.
I was thinking maybe because the fire alarm went off that they didn't let you guys in.
I didn't know the fire alarm went off.
Oh, it did.
Oh, it did?
People cleared out.
Oh.
I found out that it was a monthly test or some sort of test over at the Omni, but at the hotel, but it set the alarm off here too. So I saw people leave.
They used to do that all the time. Do the emergency broadcasting system.
Yeah, right.
They still do that.
This is a test of the emergency broadcast system. This is only a test.
Our sirens used to go off.
There's a lot going on.
Yes, there is.
This week and this day as well.
Something's
Mickey.
going on upstairs.
So they're at the Ford Center. They're doing their annual high school coaches clinic.
Okay.
And there was a lot of coaches there. And they're going to have like a luncheon. So check out my math, but there were 4 rows of 10 tables of 10 tops. That means they're set up for 400 people. Is that right? They were doing CPR training. The Red Cross was here. Not only chest compressions, but also showing them how to use the
defibrillator?
AED defibrillator. Is that what they're called? They were practicing that when I walked over there. And they were going to continue doing that at 11:30.
Nobody wants to have to use that.
Yeah, but they're teaching you. And I did the class here, and the thing on the AEDs is that the whole thing's automated. Like, it tells you step by step what to do, right? Even if you didn't remember.
And yet it would still be chaotic.
I'm sure it would if you had to do that. You know, I just read a story, I think it was in Sunday's paper. This couple was coming back from vacation, and they were both nurses. And they had somebody on the flight that quit breathing and was turning blue. And they went up and saved the guy on the floor of the plane. So, yeah, those guys were going through. They have the little half demonstration mannequin or whatever where you learn to do the chest compressions. But anyway, so that's going on at the Ford Center. The East-West Shrine game is
That's
coming
what I had to break
here.
through to get here.
Yeah.
They're already upstairs.
They're
I
upstairs.
believe.
The press conference is supposed to start at 11 o'clock.
Like right now.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, the Cowboys have 7 guys here for workouts, 2 of which are quarterbacks. 2 were DBs, and I think
So the red jersey means what?
quarterback.
All right.
You don't touch him.
Okay.
Even in a tryout.
Even in a tryout.
We don't
right?
want to be liable for this.
And then and there was 3 they had to be wide receivers, just the numbers they gave them and how small they
That will
were.
be the greatest contact we see
right.
this week is those tryout wide receivers going up against cornerbacks.
Yeah, and that won't happen
And we
either.
won't see it either.
I'm sure there's regulations on workouts, too. Can't be too physical. And then tomorrow starts the 3 consecutive days of the mandatory minicamp. So, yeah, a lot going on here.
But this
including, it
this
looks
show
like,
marks what? our last,
final
our
one
final.
till training camp, probably.
This is our mandatory minicamp preview edition
That's right.
of Mick Shots, and it doubles as our training camp preview edition of
right.
Mick Shots. So we got a lot to get to.
That's right, because they will head out for training camp on July 24th, the final week in July.
July 24th.
That doesn't seem too
No,
premature. It doesn't
because
seem
by
too early.
time you fly there, and then the next day will be some sort of testing or whatever, and then
That will be the press conference, too.
the press
25th.
conference, and then the next 3 days is probably the basically another mini camp before they actually allowed to practice, which is, I think, another 3 days, and then probably by the 1st and 2nd of August they'll put the pads on and actually do something.
Just make sure
Yes.
that when it's time to give a specimen, that you have not woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning and already presented it into,
And then you got nothing?
and then you got nothing. And then you have to wait until you can show up for practice. You have to give a specimen. You can't go in to get the pad. So I'm sitting there because I made that mistake. I'm sitting there. You're considered a positive if you can't give a specimen.
Right.
And so I'm sitting here. I made the mistake.
Woke up.
Then here it is. I can't do it. So, okay, you can't go to practice. And guess who else couldn't do it when I was with the Giants? Lawrence Taylor.
Well, I was going to say.
So me and LT sitting there, and I'm like,
Lawrence probably didn't want to give it.
Don't put me with this guy.
I'll tell you what.
And don't get our specimens
Right,
mixed up.
please don't do that.
The summer after my freshman year in college, I had to go do the selective service exam, and
That was for the draft.
for the draft.
The real
Yeah,
draft.
the serious draft.
Old school draft.
And they must have had the biggest bathroom you ever seen because they're processing a couple hundred people, right? And there's urinals all over the place. The guy next to me couldn't do it. He just couldn't do it. I offered him some.
Very good.
Right?
Spag. I like that, Spag.
And then,
you're a good dude, man.
And then they make this announcement like over the intercom, and they scream it because back then everybody was trying to get out of the draft, right? Something had to be wrong, and they just scream, "Where are the 5 guys that can't?" And it was Army language too, right?
Yeah.
And the guy looked at me and he goes, "I should have taken your stuff."
Well, it traumatized me. It took me about 10 years after I retired because you know.
Were you already? You were at the Giants. So
Yeah,
you were
I was at the
already
Giants.
established.
Yeah, but still, that was uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
I've never had that problem, and so that one time I made that mistake, and it took me 10 years of okay, where am I? You wake up, 3 in the morning or whatever, and you thank God that, you're free.
I'll tell you what, all these years later, I'm still traumatized by that physical thing that took place.
I believe it.
Because there were other stations.
I always hesitate now when I get up. I hesitate.
My hearing machine broke down. And all of a sudden, this big old sergeant comes in and slaps me on the shoulder, and he goes, "Quit trying to screw with your test here."
Manipulate.
Manipulate.
Yeah, that's the word they use, the M word.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The
Yeah.
manipulate word, okay.
And there was a couple other words in there too, and I thought my ears were ringing, right? So you had to push the button right or left where you hear it, and the buzzer in my right ear kept going off, and I kept pushing it right. And when he slapped me on the shoulder, I'm going, okay, what do I do now, right? And we're in these individual cubicles.
How big was the guy?
Oh, he was big.
How small were you?
And his hand was huge, right? Yeah, let's see. So I was probably about 135 pounds,
man,
right?
I could just see that.
So I said, so all these things got to be the same, right? So I can see the guy next to me, and I can see which elbow was moving, so I did whatever he did. End of the day, they came in and said, well, those of you that flunked the hearing test, the machines malfunctioned. You're going to have to come back next Saturday and take the test over. I passed because I cheated. Sometimes you got to be resilient, you know?
I thought we had a lot of important stuff to talk
We
about.
We do.
We do, but
well,
it went off the track.
let's see. We got
That's my fault. That's my fault. I'll take that one, guys.
we got
I'll
CPR
take that
taken
one.
care of.
Specimens.
We've got the East-West Shrine game that they've been moving around. I thought it was always in San Francisco,
At
but
Kezar Stadium.
yeah, but
I
I
always
think.
thought that was very cool, East-West Shrine in Northern California.
But then they
I
did
always
it.
thought that was
Did they
very
do it
cool.
in Vegas?
I don't know.
They've moved it around.
Yeah.
But it's coming
It's
here.
coming here.
Next year. Yeah. What other notes? Oh, I had, and also condolence to Hunt family. Norma Hunt
Yes.
passed away.
I saw that come across last night.
It was on the weekend,
Yeah.
I think. 57
what I saw.
consecutive Super Bowls she attended. Oh, and how about this one? So, was there a movie? It was called Close Encounters of the Third Kind, or something like that. So, I had a close encounter on Friday when I was leaving here. I'm getting ready to go down to the parking garage, and door opens to the elevator, and George Teague walks off. So, I got to talk to George Teague. I go down, door opens. And who should be going up?
T.O.
T.O.?
No. Who did we talk about half the show last week?
I don't know.
Think back.
We have
Think
so
back.
many benign
We
subjects.
started the
Ezekiel
show.
Elliott.
Yes. It was Zeke. He was getting in the elevator to go up, and he looks, and we were both startled, right? Hey, how you doing? I go, fine. How are you doing? He goes, okay. You know, his beard was cut, nice, and haircut was cut. And he's getting ready to go up, and I go, what are you doing? He goes, oh, well, yeah, I'm just kind of waiting. I said, well, we talked about you on Wednesday that, you know, you need to come back here.
Yeah.
I said, is that a possibility? And he kind of laughed. And, well, you never know.
Wait.
That was a good
We
try,
had to-
Spags. I like how you snuck it in there.
Right.
Very
Wait.
casual, hoping he would give you something.
Yeah,
We
right.
had to wait through Mickey's selective service story to get to this.
Finally.
to
right?
get to the lead, right?
You talking about burying the lead?
So I think he didn't say what he was doing, but I think he was going up to the Cowboy Club, probably meet Dak for
out.
lunch or something, because I found out that he didn't go into the front office or anything like that. I said, so yeah. I said, you know, for
You almost got him,
for a
Spags.
little bit of money and incentives, and he just kind of giggled as he giggled.
You kept digging,
I
didn't
kept
you? You
trying.
kept
I
digging.
kept trying.
That's
right?
all right, buddy.
But you know what? The door kept closing, and he kept keeping it open. So
He's lonely.
So we could finish our conversation. It
He's
was
tired
pretty.
of just seeing just that. Right?
It
He
was
wants to
pretty
see some
funny.
love.
So
And
that
then-
was on Friday. That was on Friday, right?
Yeah.
So that was the first day
That
that
his
the new money
money-
was available.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
What are the odds? What are the odds?
We are
I was
putting
putting
two
it. I
and
was
two
trying to
together.
put two and two together, right? But I think I got 6 instead
Yeah.
of 4.
Putting 2 and 1 together.
Yeah, right.
There you go.
So anyway,
Get
it was pretty
get-
funny.
Putting 2
Yeah,
and
we
1.
got it. We
Gotcha,
got it. Yeah,
gotcha,
we got it.
yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
He would like to put 1 and 5 together, though.
So
His college
That's all
number.
he's got left.
So the
His
guys-
college
That's all he
number
has
is
left.
15.
the guys
That's all
there
he
to
has
do
left.
the valet, they saw what happened. They were laughing. They go, "Boy, that was good timing."
They're on it. They are on it.
What did George Teague have to do with that?
That was the start of
Yeah, that
me
was the
seeing
intro.
him.
Yeah,
That was the intro.
You were setting the tone,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and it
That got
elevated.
us to both
Yeah,
respond that
exactly.
T.O. is here.
Right.
I don't know T.O. So anyway,
George Teague and T.O. will always be linked together.
Always.
yes,
And
they
the star.
Do they
absolutely
like each
will.
other?
They probably make some money off it.
Yeah,
Ah,
make
yes.
appearances.
Like Dwight
You
Like
and
you and Dwight Clark
right?
did.
Yeah, but the White and I
absolutely.
didn't like almost fight. You know,
Right.
Football game.
So that gets us to your previews of the mini camp.
That's right. And the one missing thing on this Cowboys roster.
That's
in
right.
my opinion.
Yes.
A power running back.
Fourth string quarterback?
And they'll
That's true,
probably
too.
need to bring in another quarterback for at least training camp.
Once they actually start practicing.
Yeah. They've got 2 openings. They're at 90. They're at 87 right now. Or at least that's what the roster said for the OTA that we got to watch on Thursday. which they were very careful not to even put a hand up to try to defend a pass.
We don't want any more bad thumbs around
That's
here.
right.
Yeah. Our producer Supreme's talking to me at the same time you're talking, so I didn't hear what happened there.
Well, do we need to hear what he had to say?
Well, you said 87. You said there's 2 spots open, but isn't
Three.
it 90?
3. Didn't I say 3?
You said 2.
2.
3. Yeah, sorry.
So 3. 3 spots open.
Sorry.
Yeah.
One for Zeke.
Thank you, Christopher.
One for a fourth quarterback
And one
a
for a
wild
kicker.
card. Oh, kicker, yeah. I guess we do need a kicker.
And none of those guys look like kickers that they're working out today.
Please don't let this be our Achilles heel for this season. Is a kicker.
A kicker
When we're doing everything's, running on all.
score touchdowns.
We need.
And that's where you need the big
a
running back.
kicker.
That's right.
We need
He
it.
comes back to the big running back.
Really, which is more important? Because the kicker, you got to have him for just consistency. You have to have someone you can rely on, which we had most of the year last year. But then we also have
Would
to
you
move the
rather?
chains.
All
Okay,
but
as
one
far
game.
as far as a kicker, would you rather have a kicker that makes every field goal and every extra point inside 40 yards, makes every one of them inside 45 yards? Okay, every field goal inside 45 and every extra point, or would you like one that might miss 2 all season inside 45, but can also bang it home from 60?
If it's only 2, yeah.
Okay.
But if you're talking 5, that could happen.
Yeah.
How about just one?
Just
Inside
one.
40.
No, it'd be nice if you didn't just miss but one. We're saying the highest, the lowest.
Well, that's
bar
what
we
you
wanna
had
take.
until the playoff game.
I love the guy. I want him back. I'm just being real.
His only miss under 50 was 46.
And he had some clutch 50-yard field goals.
Yes.
That helped us win the game.
And his only 2 other misses were from 59.
Man, we talk about such a high bar for kickers and a low bar for
So
third-string
whoever they
quarterbacks.
bring in, they're not going to replicate it.
Again, the
He was
Brett
29
Maher
of
numbers,
32.
29 of 32. That's 91%
Come on, man.
on field goals.
Come on, guys.
And he was 50 out of 53 on extra points.
And I want to say one of those got blocked.
94.3.
That's good numbers, Bill. I'm sorry. That is good numbers
Until the playoff.
until the playoffs. So, man.
See, everybody-
No forgiveness for a
Everybody
kicker.
was making a big deal out of Denver letting McManus go.
Yeah.
Right? Veteran kicker. He was 78% last year. That's why. That and the fact that he was going to make $4.5 million.
I like our guy. I like the guy that we used to have. And the fact that he's not even getting a chance
You liked him until the Tampa Bay game.
until and into the next game. I can forgive you. I can forgive you for that. It happens. Crap happens. And he got us there. He helped get us there. I mean, he was one of the bright spots on the team, and we had a lot of bright spots.
You know what's going to happen is he'll have to sit still, and then somebody's going to get to training camp and struggle.
With those numbers, and he still doesn't have many tryouts, right?
Denver brought him in after they let
This is amazing
McManus
to me,
go.
guys. I mean, it's amazing to me. I know we're all supposed to be upset because of the playoffs, but man, this guy really did well for
If
us.
somebody's struggling at kicker, they're going to bring him in and say, "Okay, let's see."
Let's see
are you
what?
are you over what happened?
Over what? We could see that
In the
now.
playoff game.
We could see that now. We could bring him in now and see
Right.
if he's over it.
I know.
And we're never going to know if he's over it until we get back into that position again.
And it's probably the same thing as Zeke. Somebody's going to have to suffer an injury, and they're going to say,
I hope
"Oh,
we don't suffer
An
because
injury?
of this. No,
Oh,
I mean,
the kicker thing.
in regards to our productivity. And I've been trying to figure this out or understand where everyone's coming from.
But you know what?
Since this is the last show till training
This
camp,
ain't-
I got to finally say how I feel.
This ain't like a bunch of tomatoes on a tomato plant. There's not a lot of guys available.
Once again, that just leads to case
That's
in
your
point.
problem.
That's-
It's not like there's somebody out there just sitting there that's great. Now, you got veteran guys, right? But they all got released by somebody for some reason. And then the young guys, 2 guys or 3 maybe got drafted. 2, one in the third, and one in the fourth.
Man, I hope this doesn't come back to just bite us even worse than it did in the playoffs with his inability to make.
Well, the fortunate thing was it didn't cost him. It was the difference between scoring 35 points and 31 points, right? Which was how good this offense was.
Would you like to know the details on the East-West Shrine Bowl moving to the Star in Frisco?
Let's hear it.
99th East-West All-Star Game to be played at the Star February 1st, 2024. Stephen Jones says it is a tremendous honor to host the East-West Shrine Bowl. The game is a fixture in college football.
Now, are they playing it at AT&T or the Ford Center?
At the Star. Ford Center, Star in Frisco.
That's great for the scouting department. They just got to walk across the hallway.
Yeah. All right, let's look at the screen, and there you have it.
Oh, look at there.
Hey.
The Shriners.
There it is. And by the way,
Live look into the press conference that just ended.
By the way, I can tell from personal experience, the Texas Scottish Rite Hospital here in Dallas is one of the jewels. Our family, my oldest daughter, when she was a year and a half old, she was diagnosed with a hip displacement, and she was born with it. And we spent some time at the Scottish Rite Hospital here.
That was
That's
your
a
fault. You know that,
wonderful
right?
place.
You gave her that. You know that.
We know where the hip problem came from.
We already know.
So whenever I see those Shriners hats, I have fond feelings about this
Nice.
Texas
Good
Scottish
stuff.
Rite
Good
Hospital.
stuff.
All right, we continue with more Mick Shots in just a moment.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com is one of the most trusted ways to buy, sell, and trade crypto. Whether you're always on the go or stay closer to home, Blockchain.com is just a few taps away. Put the power of crypto in your pocket, so no matter where you are, you can trade on your terms and build a crypto portfolio to fit your life. For crypto pros, rookies, and anyone in between, Blockchain.com makes it easy to own a piece of the future. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pre-game sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Hey, honey, can we talk?
Of course. What's up?
Well, I just thought you should know I've been curious about the new Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream.
Have you felt this way a long time?
No, I just think I'd really like the taste of Dr. Pepper, swirled with layers of flavor.
If you feel that way, I think you should try it, babe.
It's amazing. I mean, you're amazing too.
New Dr. Pepper strawberries and cream. The new flavor you deserve.
Back to Mick Shots.
K-Post Roofing and Waterproofing, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys. From corporate homes to your home, have your roof checked by choice, not by chance. And call now, 214-225-4860, kpostcompany.com. And that's a good idea because I saw someone was trying to sell a house, and when the people came and they did an inspection and the roof did not pass inspection and canceled the sale of that house. So, get a hold of K-Post.
All right. Since we last convened, which was last Wednesday, the Cowboys had an open look at an OTA on Thursday of last week. And, Mickey, I would be interested in knowing your observations from that day.
Well, folks were trying to make a big deal out of Micah Parsons working out in the offseason in Austin. And he showed up for the voluntary OTAs that we got to watch. And he was there on Thursday. Diggs wasn't, but I hear he was on Friday. Parsons, gosh, he must have done a 20-minute press conference. He's amazing. And he was basically talking about how he was trying to work on specific things at one of those workout centers and trying to get better. And he basically said he's put on – everybody tried to make this big deal that he put on weight to be a defensive end. He said, I put on muscle, 5 pounds. So it's not like, okay, I know I'm going to play defensive end 60 snaps a game or something like that. But the interesting thing I thought he said is, he said, I realized this whole thing is not about sacks. He goes, I'm kind of over that. He said the important thing is to make plays when plays have to be made. He said, I want to be like Aaron Donald. You know how he takes over a game and he makes plays when plays have to be made? He said, so to me, I want to be the guy. I don't want to be the sack leader. I want to be the guy that makes a difference in games that the Cowboys win. I thought that was an interesting perspective heading into his third season. But, yeah, you know what? He could do a one-man talk show. I swear. He's unbelievable, right, the stuff he comes up with. The other thing that occurred to me, and it was kind of a neat scene. So they're doing special teams, and the guys that weren't going to be on special teams are on the sideline, right? Well, kneeling down sort of in front of me on one knee from left to right was Michael Gallup, Brandon Cooks, and CeeDee Lamb. Their backs to me. You can see their numbers and everything. And I'm going, that's what was missing last year. Brandon Cooks and Michael Gallup being Michael Gallup. And if they think that this offense needs fixing, which, they outscored the opponents last year by 125 points. But I always contended, and I don't know if you guys agreed with me, they were a receiver short because of Gallup. He wasn't Michael Gallup. Well, everything that I've seen in these OTAs, he's Michael Gallup. He's got his confidence back. You can tell the way he's moving. And if you have these three guys at wide receiver and they stay healthy, that's a pretty formidable group right now. And it just struck me sitting there watching them from behind. And it's like they had to bring in T.Y. Hilton at the end to try to revive a struggling wide receiver corps.
How about what they did at the beginning? They started Dennis Houston in the first game.
Dennis Houston and was the third guy. Noah,
well, he's the third guy, yeah.
Yeah, Noah Brown.
Noah Brown
was second,
started, yeah.
Right? So what everybody talk about, they should have gotten DeAndre Hopkins. Well, this threesome right here, and just watching the way they were utilizing them when they were running 11, sort of on 11, these guys were interchangeable. It wasn't like this guy's got to be outside, this guy's got to be inside. They were moving guys around. They would line up three guys to one side, and you didn't know which guy was going in motion.
That is extremely key,
right?
There. To have three
because you can't tip
parts.
you can't tip your hand.
You
right?
always had the way it was in previous years. If you did change it up, you still were predictable on who you were going to.
Right.
Right. Usually going to be CeeDee Lamb, and now, like you said, interchangeable parts. If Gallup can work in the slot, that would be pretty
and
amazing.
They're giving him some reps.
That would be pretty amazing to put him
out.
in the slot because he's always been left or right. I don't recall Michael Gallup ever running a route from the slot. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think you're right.
And so to be able to do that, that gives him a heads up on the DBs, because now they can't really predict the routes he's going to run or how close he's going to be to the sideline, wherever his lineup is.
So
That's key.
And how difficult does that make for the defense?
Because now you can't predict what he's going to run based on his alignment on the field. You always know he's going to be left or right. There's only so many routes you can run from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get him in the slot with that kind of speed and physicality, I'm hoping he can be physical. Because last year, that's what came up and showed up against him. But if he can be physical like he always was, before Michael Gallup got injured, he was one of the more athletic wide receivers I had ever seen, period. I've seen him do some things, scoring a touchdown. It was on one leg one time. He was doing something crazy. I'm going to look it up one of these days. But that's what you need with Michael Gallup, is open up more possibilities for him from different areas of the field.
If you go back before the ACL surgery, and he missed the first, I think it was 6 games in 2022. He had was it a calf or an ankle, something like that? But if you go back to 2019 and 2020, he combined for 125 catches, 1,950 yards, 11 touchdowns, but maybe biggest, 15.6 a catch over those 2 seasons. So if you get what it looks like you're seeing in OTAs from him, and you get that again, and you bring that in with Brandon Cooks, and then a Pro Bowl receiver like CeeDee Lamb, man, that's a pretty good threesome. Gosh, that probably takes you back to when Amari Cooper was here.
Which was what they were missing last year.
That's
exactly. Right. No, exactly. And see, it was the one-man show for CeeDee Lamb. And he had a fantastic season, 100 catches, 1,300 yards. So, yeah, that was my biggest takeaway, I think, from what we were able to see. 107 catches for CD, 1,359 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 5 100-yard games. And the PR department figured out he's got 10 over his first 3 seasons, 100-yard games. And he trails only in Cowboys history Bob Hayes, who had 13 in his first 3 years with the franchise. So that tells you what CeeDee Lamb can do. And he looks like he grew some shoulders in the offseason, too, by the way. Another person that looked like he put on some muscle was Jalen Tolbert. And he was moving pretty well also. So, you know, if you get those 4 guys, you've done a heck of a job. And
I'm still worried about the tight end position, though. Just in
Ferguson looks really good. And I guarantee you, and I've been told this, he's already a better blocker than Dalton Schultz. So if
I really like Jake Ferguson.
Right? I mean, he played
I don't think they're losing anything there.
Wisconsin.
Yep.
Right? You had to block at Wisconsin to get on the field because they're going to run the ball.
He looks good after the catch.
I'm more concerned. Okay, so what about the second tight end? He's my first tight end.
Well, right now, you got to get Schoonmaker healthy.
What's going on with him?
He had something done.
Like plantar fasciitis?
Was that what it was? I was thinking it was a shoulder or something.
Okay. He had a boot on.
Had a protective boot on his right foot.
He had something procedure done, I think. But, you know.
Now, limiting him in OTAs is not as big a concern
right.
as long as he's here learning everything.
Right, exactly. And he's doing some things, just not a lot. You know, and if you're worried about someone getting down the field, Hendershot can do that. And they got more out of McEwen than I think they thought they were going to get last year using him. Now, the key thing would be if you can keep those 3 tight ends at tight end and they don't have to play H-back, if the undrafted rookie can play fullback.
Hunter Lipke.
Yes, that would be a good combination. Although he doesn't look like he has the size of a moose, by the way. but he's pretty versatile, and I saw them moving him around in a lot of different spots too.
I just found the touchdown. God, that was such an amazing touchdown. He jumped over somebody with one leg and came down and still did a somersault and scored a touchdown.
That was
Michael Gallup.
Gallup?
Yeah, I just saw the touchdown. I mean, that to me, that was typical of the type of athleticism that he had then. He jumps over a guy with one leg and comes down on that same leg, and at the same time rolls over into the end zone untouched. That's just, it's something that you just don't see from every wide receiver. So that's what we were dealing with. We were dealing with an extremely athletic second receiver. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, he was showing a little bit more physicality than C.D. Lamb was at one point, because he was the guy that was ready to go and get the tough catch. C.D. was making the tough catches, but we were expecting that from him. But the really physical catches, Michael Gallup was doing that before he got in.
And Dak was quoted as saying he's starting to come back into who Michael Gallup is. He's getting his feet under him, and he's going to be better. So if you add that to, and Brandon Cooks can move now.
Oh no, he
still
looks
got
like
speed.
A really jacked dude,
and he's not that big.
He seems to be muscular though.
Yes, he is. He's compact, right? And then CD talking about just the whole bunch of them was talking about how this could be one of the fastest groups. He didn't want to say the fastest. He goes, I don't want Coop coming after me, right? He goes, but this might be one of the fastest groups I've ever been a part of.
And
still worried about Coop.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Good
the thing on Cooks, he's still in the prime of his. I mean, he doesn't turn 30 until September. He's 29 years old.
Yeah.
So, all right, we continue. You know what? I just thought of this. This coming up here will be the last read of the offseason.
Oh, no.
Mickey Spagnola. He will make it a good one when we come back.
A perfect one.
It's a difficult one.
The Medal of Honor is our country's highest military award for valor in combat. More than 40 million individuals have served in the armed forces since the Civil War. Fewer than 4,000 have received the Medal of Honor. The National Medal of Honor Museum will be a place to preserve these legacies and inspire America. It's being built right next door to the Dallas Cowboys in Texas. Help us honor our country's greatest heroes. Learn more and get involved at mohmuseum.org.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com is one of the most trusted ways to buy, sell, and trade crypto. Whether you're always on the go or stay closer to home, Blockchain.com is just a few taps away. Put the power of crypto in your pocket, so no matter where you are, you can trade on your terms and build a crypto portfolio to fit your life. For crypto pros, rookies, and anyone in between, Blockchain.com makes it easy to own a piece of the future. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team.
Hey Cowboys fans, ready to spice up your next watch party? Bring Yo Quiero guacamole and be the game day hero. Yo Quiero means I want, and we know you want great, fresh-tasting, ready-to-serve guacamole for your home gating and tailgating events. Made with real avocados and the perfect blend of spices, it will be the star of any party. You can find us at your local Albertsons or Tom Thumb in the deli section. If you can't find it, talk to your store manager and tell them, Yo Quiero guacamole.
Star Sports Tours is the only official fan travel partner of the Dallas Cowboys, offering exclusive game weekend travel packages with pregame sideline access and photo ops with current players, cheerleaders, and Cowboy legends. You want to stay at a team hotel, attend the best tailgate party in Texas, tour the Star, and talk X's and O's with me, Everson Walls? With Star Sports Tours, you can. Visit cowboystravel.com to book your travel package today.
Back to Mick Shots.
Register now for the 2023 Dallas Cowboys Youth Camps presented by Invisalign. Athletes ages 6 to 16 are invited to learn from the best this summer at AT&T Stadium or Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. Football camps are led by former NFL players, and dance camps are taught by the current Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. Use code CAMP23 and you get $25 off registration. Visit now, Cowboys.com/camps.
I got 2 negative marks on that one.
2?
William. Yes, it's 2. You hesitated. I may take away 1 because you kind of improvised on that last area there. So I'll give you 1.
So that's something you can work on over the next 7 weeks before training camp starts.
Before training camp starts.
I'm sure he'll prioritize that.
And I'm sure you guys are going to make a special effort to come out and join me.
Oh,
I am for sure. Yes. DeAndre Hopkins. You have any interest in DeAndre Hopkins?
I don't know that I have enough money for him.
The question posed to Cowboys Executive Vice President Stephen Jones moments ago on if there is any interest in free agent wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. Quote, "He's not on this team right now. We went down the road with Cooks. We're very comfortable with Cooks. We're really pleased with our receiving group."
There you go.
Unquote.
If you could afford him, I'd take him, but you can't afford him.
He was supposed to make $17 million this year. Is he taking a pay cut now that he's?
He will.
He will because he might not have a choice.
That's right.
I've heard somebody say, "Well, he'll play for $10 million."
I think so. I think he will.
I don't know about that.
I think he will play for 10, and that's why I say we can't afford him because I think that will probably be his bottom line.
See, and from what I've been told, Zeke's money, since they've got everybody signed already, right? So you've already accounted for your rookie pool. Extensions. And traditionally what the Cowboys have done with extensions like CD or Trayvon Diggs, they've done it in training camp when everybody's kind of there, right? Everybody's together. And so some of that money could go into extending those guys. And you still have Dak, by the way, if you wanted to do something there.
Right.
You've got Parsons coming up. So it's not all about this year's salary cap. It's next year and the year after that. And, oh, by the way, you know what? You ended up with a Pro Bowl center last year. And I know he was a replacement, Biotish.
That's okay.
But he was a Pro Bowl center, and he's in the last year of his contract. And Terrence Steele, they would still like to sign him to an extension. And, maybe Tony Pollard, too, so he doesn't count $10 million against the cap if they get a long-term deal down with him. They would probably do 3 years with him, I would think. And that would lessen his cap impact for this year, which would create more money for these extensions. So where people look up and say, oh, the Cowboys got $20 million. Well, they want to go into the season with 8 to 10 for operating circumstances. So if you're going to use that other money for extensions, you don't have a lot of money to have a luxury of 4 receivers if you added Hopkins. And you're probably not putting all 4 on the field at the same time.
And that's my thing. Someone's going to suffer.
Right?
There's going to be a receiver that's going to be out of it if you bring in Hopkins. And those 3 receivers, I like all once again.
Yeah, right.
Like all
they're going to run the run and shoot. You're going to have 4 receivers out there starting.
As long as they catch the darn ball.
Yeah, as long as they catch. And all 4 of those guys, they can catch it.
Because
so
you're paying plenty of money to the 3 other guys.
That's right.
The 3 that you have right now.
And next year.
I would love to. Once again, I would love to have him. But we just can't afford him. And I wouldn't say that we're settling with what we have. I think we're in very good position.
That's what struck me when I saw those 3 guys together. Exactly. And
so in DeAndre Hopkins' case, does it behoove him, unless he has a team like Cleveland who's got money available to go ahead and sign whatever, to just wait until training camp, see what injuries happen, and then find teams with needs?
Because I'm sure he didn't want to go through training camp. Not that training camp's so difficult like it was before, right, where guys that were veterans.
But see, to me, that kind of thought process, I'm hoping he's not there because – if you're trying to make a difference in a team, that's the way I wanted to be there for training camp. Right. I don't want to come in after everything's already done. I want to be at OTAs. I want to know my teammates going into training camp and at least get them to see what I can still do. And if I'm DeAndre, I don't want to go moseying in after with T.Y. like T.Y. did, coming in later.
But as
you're
it
not
stands
showing
right
yourself as
now,
part of the fabric of the team.
the ship has sailed on OTAs and
That part,
minicamps
yes.
now.
And
And
even-
so,
but
now,
training
if you
camp
could
still.
sign, you could sign, whether it's him or Zeke or whatever, anyone out there, you could sign mid-June, and you'd have an opportunity to work with your quarterback.
That would be my worst case scenario right
for
there.
DeAndre.
If I'm a guy like Zeke or DeAndre, I want to get in before training camp. I really do.
Here's another thing from CD being, you know what? He's sort of blatantly honest all the time. It came up about, what are they trying to do on offensively, and can they cut down on, the interceptions, and there's a good case to be 7 of those 15 weren't on the quarterback, right? CD said, I feel like that was our biggest problem for us last year. We were never on, we were not on we were on the same page, but not as often as we wanted to. There was a ton of brutal mistakes. And he's right.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody
right.
thinks this offense needs to, reinvent everything. Right?
Revamp.
Yeah. And it's like, and his point, no, we need to cut down on the mistakes. We just need to brush up, flush out the mistakes. In Dak's first 10 games back after the injury, not counting the final game when they got beat by Washington and didn't mean anything. They scored 6 points. In those 10 games, they averaged 35 points a game. Now, you're going to blame Kellen Moore for that? Probably not, right? And in 2 of the losses, they scored 28 on the road against Green Bay. Get beat in overtime. 28 should be enough.
Jacksonville.
Get beat on the road, Jacksonville, when you scored 34 points. So it wasn't like the offense was caught. Now, I understand what happened in the playoff game. And the 12 points have clouded this whole circumstance here, right?
The 12 points was just is indicative of past records as well, past non-achievements. I mean, we've always stumbled in that moment. So it wasn't just the 12 points, it was the fact that we stumbled again at that moment.
And if you throw in the first playoff game, they should have scored 35, right? If he made his 4 extra points. That kind of gets us back to where we started.
Yeah, I can't
But this offense scored. It scored. I heard somebody saying, they want to run the ball more. Or I looked at running the ball, and they ran the ball a hell of a lot this past season.
The thing about the season, Spags, it's not about the entire season. It's the moments that we failed, which goes back to even the previous season. Unusual blowouts, just, uncharacteristic blowouts, things of that nature. That inconsistency has always followed us even into good seasons. The last season wasn't that inconsistent, but once again, there was the Texans game. What are we doing here, right? Why do we have to have a great last, 2-minute drive to win that game? Here we get, again, tough games against tough teams, we seem to falter. That's the problem that has followed us. We blow Minnesota out, but then all of a sudden we come back and we play badly against another team. Those are the things that have followed. It's not the season, it's those moments.
Well, they basically no-showed offensively in the season opener. All right? They got beat. The one loss with Cooper Rush starting was
against the Eagles.
Philadelphia.
Yes.
All right? You didn't have your starting quarterback. And then when you had your starting quarterback, they didn't have theirs, and the Cowboys beat them.
Yeah.
Beat them bad.
No doubt.
The 2 overtime losses. So there's 4 of the 5, and then what happened against Washington. So during the season, they stepped up. You can't lose on the road when you score 34 points. You just can't. And not on a drop pass that gets intercepted in return for the walk-off touchdown. Offensively, okay, now you've made changes, but there's the bar. Can you average 35 points a game in 10 straight games.
Yeah, that was pretty articulate there, Spags. I like that.
Thank you. And with that, I turn over the last 9 minutes to you guys.
We're going another 9 minutes?
Oh,
we have no
I don't
show
know.
after this?
My stomach is growling. I know
There is no show.
No show, so we can take it 9 minutes. Okay, so well, if you made it this far, you might as well preview training camp now.
Training camp. Because
who's going to be the most intriguing?
Mini camp will be just kind of what we've seen so far.
Fans can't see mini camp.
Yeah.
So
but they can see
training camp, and they can see the preseason games. And the most intriguing player on this roster during the preseason will be
Michael Parsons.
Deuce Vaughn.
Oh, and you're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does he interview comfortably?
Yes.
I know he's young.
Oh, yes.
I know he's young.
Yes.
Young.
No,
yes. He's the total package.
Young. Yeah, he is. He is, and they're, and in these kind of skeleton drills they do, even if it's team, he catches the ball really well out of the backfield. They've got him working on.
He does everything really well except get big.
Right. And that part you can't change.
I got to say, I just did a football camp yesterday in Oklahoma City. And I just happened to be standing by this young kid. I guess he was about 5'8", and I'm thinking, he's taller than Deuce. That's the first thing I thought. He's taller than Deuce. And he was little, and he's taller than Deuce.
Towering over Deuce.
Okay, I got to see this, guys. I've got to see it. I've seen him play, but I've got to see it.
They have him returning. He and Turpin were returning kicks. And by the way, they've been using Turpin a lot with the second group of three wide receivers.
Well, it was intriguing what Mike McCarthy said at the press conference. He was talking about players making the big jump from their first year to their second year, and he expressed optimism on both Jalen Tolbert and Sam Williams going into the second year.
Nice,
it was intriguing what he said later about Turpin is that the big thing for him is being able to make that first to second year jump.
Right.
In terms of learning the offense and that sort of thing.
And
in regards to his abilities, period, and what he did as a returner, it's hard to jump up from that. It's hard to get better than he was as a returner because I thought he did a pretty good job.
But I think he, in terms of being used on offense,
of course,
it's more than
I understand.
The decoy or the end around guy.
He was on the field for 62 offensive snaps last year.
What's that, about 5%?
Yeah.
But they never targeted him.
Yeah.
Right.
So
if they're going to target,
to get open, or
it's being able to learn all the positions that they want to use him in.
Them put him in the best situation.
And one of the things they need to do with him is throw him the ball on the move, not having him run like
a curl route,
or throw it to him. And if he had to pull off some of the junk plays where the guy's in motion coming around and then swing it to him.
He needs picks. They need to set picks for him. If you set picks for him, you can catch him on the move and give him some space.
Right.
Yeah.
Or start him moving and then throw it to him. Put him in motion. And somebody's going to have to go with him. And you'll find out if they're playing zone or man-to-man, right?
No doubt.
And man-to-man, no one's going to run with him. And I liked his body language in that OTA practice. Like and it didn't matter if they were in teams, 7-on-7, or just throwing routes. If for some reason he didn't come down with a pass, they were practicing getting up high to catch one, high pointing it, and the ball got over his head. He didn't quite jump high, and he was mad at himself that he didn't catch it. He was wanting to catch everything. And I could tell that he's really working on that. So it'll be interesting to see. Plus, he'll come into this training camp a little fresher than he got there last year, right? After having played that season in the
USFL.
I get him confused.
XFL,
I
USFL,
get him
whatever
confused.
it was, where he was the most invaluable offensive person, and it wasn't just his returns. He was a good wide receiver.
Well, he not only had played in the USFL, but in the fall he had played in Poland.
Was that the Europe thing?
That's true.
In Europe. And prior to that, the previous. I mean, he was playing football like continuously for an 18-month period because he played in the spring league the year before, and then he played in some indoor league as well during the summer months before going to Europe.
Sounds like he was on the run.
So
he's pretty good on the run.
So that's if he's your fifth option at wide receiver, not bad. And he's still returning. And then you brought up Deuce, and it'll be interesting to see how they can, I'm going to assume he's going to make the team, how they can utilize him in different areas also. Because when he was returning kickoffs, and I know they weren't blocking and tackling, but he had to look for lanes, and he finds them easily. I'm sitting up high. I can see them. Usually on the field, they're hard to see. And he would just swoop right into the open spot.
Oh, I think Deuce is going to make an impact his rookie year. I really do.
Another guy, just get him the ball, right? Somehow, some way. And see if people can find him.
I mean, the way things are currently put together on this roster, Deuce is going to get a lot more snaps on offense than Kevontae Turpin is.
You're probably right. That's not a bad.
Yeah, I wondered about that. I wondered about that.
If they're going with the running backs they got right now, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
He's right now. You would. I mean, they don't have a depth chart right now. But you got Pollard, and then who's your two?
Jones.
You like Malik Davis or Ronald Jones there?
You know what? I like Malik Davis. I like him a lot. We'll see what happens with.
And then Deuce
Ronald
is your
Jones.
third guy, I think.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely.
He is a third down back.
Right. As long as you're using him as a back and not
as a pass protector.
Picking up, that might be a little bit difficult.
But he's got the skills where you can play him in the slot.
You guys never forget, I tell you. I know y'all probably remember every touchdown I gave up.
I just remember.
Everyone.
I don't remember any.
I remember two that weren't his fault.
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
There was that
Damn
one.
right.
There was that one. I forgot.
That wasn't my fault. That one.
All right. 2-minute warning goes to both benches. We need a parting Mick shot for the offseason.
Yes, we do.
What was the highlight of the offseason, Mickey?
The two trades for Brandon Cooks and Stephon Gilmore. That was the highlight.
That's huge.
That they used a 5th-round pick and a 6th-round pick this year to bring in two spots that needed to be reinforced.
And those were chosen and that helped us, right? It helped us improve our roster from a veteran standpoint. So our draft alone includes veterans.
And that spent some salary cap money to do it, too. Everybody says the Cowboys are too afraid to do stuff. No, they did what they needed to do. And then you went into the draft, and you didn't have to draft a wide receiver high, and you didn't have to draft a cornerback. Because the other thing is you're still not sure about Jordan Lewis, where he's at with the Liz Frank problem. And he said he was hoping to be ready
for the start of camp.
Yeah. And when he started talking about having a new foot, I didn't like how that sound. Because they're basically saying they're telling him his foot will never be like it was before suffering this injury.
Wow.
It's a lot to come back from.
Yeah.
So, but, when they were out there.
That's why Kelvin Joseph's working in the slot.
Yeah. And
that's definitely why. Yeah.
And if he can just know what to do and not be so jumpy out there, he's got such physical skills. It's unbelievable.
He can come to this high school camp that I'm going to be coaching.
Okay,
right?
Yeah, we'll get him right.
Hey, DeMarcus Ware was here, for that one OTA working with the defensive defensive ends. So yeah, maybe you need to get out there with your man.
Yeah, we got George Teague. We're good.
He was a safety.
That's right.
All right. Well, that does it for another off-season of Dallas
Gonna
Cowboys
miss you
football.
guys, man.
Not shed any
It's gonna be a
tears.
minute, dude.
Well, find a
I'll
reason.
see you guys while I'm coming up here for lunch.
Find a reason to get to L.A. during training.
Oh, that will not be a problem.
You've got so many business opportunities.
Just one big signing the Cowboys need to make before training camp starts. They'll be ready to go.
Kicker.
Two big
signings. Talking about me.
Actually, I was talking about someone else who paid a visit here on Friday.
1-5.
That's right.
1-5. 1-5.
2-1.
Yeah. All right, and we will shout at you next time on Mick Shots from Training Camp 2023.
Go Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.